sky.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. I am pain.
Good evening, boys, girls, ghosts, ghouls, family, and friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Sacrificial Terror Podcast. Tonight is our 12th episode. Count it. 10, 2, 12th episode. I am Sam, I am Mason, the always fabulous Miss
Zombie Barbie.
And my brother from another mother, the incomparable Mr.
Lance Wagner.
That's right, baby. Tonight's show is extremely special. Brought to you by Sacrificial Pond Productions and produced by Miss Samantha Wagner and Miss Zombie Barbie. Tonight's show, we have the one, the only, Mr. Special Effects legend himself, Mr. Joe Castro. Almost 40 years of experience coming at you right now.
Yes.
Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Joe.
I'm very humbled by your introduction. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm really honored to be on the show.
Awesome.
We're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, we have been looking forward to having you on the show for like a month and a half, since whenever the hell we scheduled you. So,
but you know, it's moments like this that make life worth living. You know,
Hell yes. Hell yes.
down together and enjoy it with others. And well, what else is there in life? You know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
we're extremely honored to have you here. So let's jump right in, man. You have done some of the coolest shit in the business. And being a film guy myself and also a special effects guy who does props and all that shit, you know, you're one of the guys that I look up to.
Wow.
You know, so, I mean, like, let's talk about your experience. You did your first film at 15?
Well, I actually shot my first feature when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
Called The Trouble with Meteorites. And it took me a period of like 2 years to put it together, but I finally put it together. And I didn't do it alone. I had a lot of friends from high school and some friends that I had met in middle school that became good friends in high school that went to different high schools doing the project. And it was you know, I hope to maybe one day somehow put it out for everybody to enjoy.
Oh, wow.
And it has a lot of really cool practical effects in it. And but you know, I want to get back to even a little bit before that. Father babysitting me on a weekend when my mother was away on a cruise with the girls, and like outside, like chopping firewood. Like literally, I grew up on a giant goat ranch in Hello.
Wow.
He was literally out in the backyard, like on the farm, splitting firewood, and I was 7. And you know, like, have you ever used an electric, like a gas-powered splitter, wood splitter? Your fingers get. Have you ever seen that? You put the log in, the thing splits the log.
Oh, yeah.
And if you put your hand on there, it'll take your hand. You know, hand off. You can't have a 7-year-old there helping you do the thing.
Right.
So he sat me down in front of the TV and said, "Here, watch this. You're gonna like it." Because at the time, I was really fascinated with dinosaurs.
Right.
Growing up, I kind of wanted to be a
Archaeologist.
It's a paleontologist.
Paleontologist.
Paleontologist, yeah.
I wanted to be a paleontologist. So he said, "Sit down and watch this. You're gonna like it." and that's how he babysat me. But he also knew I would like it, and it was Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
Awesome.
Nice.
And that movie is actually considered the darkest Godzilla film ever made. Because
Nice.
he's wounded in it, he almost dies in it. He's like bleeds in it, and you know, it's a really kind of a very dark, kind of a sadistic creature in it that like poisons like all these you literally see people die in the film. The monster flies over cities and poisons people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Considered a really dark
Dude, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because when you were 7 years old, you were born in 1970. So when you were 7 years old and you got into horror, I was born.
I
was born the same year. Coincidence? I think not. I was born for this shit.
There you go. That's awesome.
So,
You know,
but
like,
what's
wait, I just wanted to say, after that movie was over, I knew like the minute it ended that that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I was like, I want to make movies, I want to make monsters, and I want to do special effects.
That is so cool.
nice?
That's
So, you know, I
badass.
was like,
All right, Joe. So why don't you tell me about what was your first prop that you ever did yourself?
okay, that's a pretty easy question to answer. Just in general, like I just want to let you know, growing up in Texas, I made my own toys. You know, my mother bought me like a collegiate level book about paper mache. It was like an intro to like paper mache 101 in some like college art class, and we got it from like a local bookstore in the mall. And I went through that book like within like 2 years. I went through the whole book, did all the assignments, and it had all kinds of really good stuff in it. But because of that, see, my mother taught me how to teach myself. That was like the most important lesson there. She's like, you can learn this stuff yourself, and I still use those same techniques today. Like everything I do as a special effects artist is a form of paper mache. Paper mache is like a French word for a lamination process where you put layer upon layer upon layer, and that's how I think my effects work best when I'm trying to like fool the audience's eye, or when I'm trying to pull off an illusion. I continue to put like layer upon layer of technique and material and light and a little bit of smoke and
Right.
and oatmeal or whatever, you know what I mean? So that way you never really can figure out what they're looking at completely. And there are some people that are amazing at sculpting, like alien heads, and they make these rubber masks. But when you see them, you can tell that's what it is. Someone's has a rubber thing over their head. And I tried to like take that completely to a new level. I'm not the world's best sculptor. I'm not the worst. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm happy with that. But my real forte is making a special effect and making it effective, kind of trying to get a reaction out of the audience with the actual effect,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that I'm very particular in the film that I'm doing. We're using all practical effects, and we're doing it all in-house. So everything that you see in our film, from the wounds to the hands being cut off and all of that stuff that we're doing, is in-house. That we're doing everything. It's all practical effects and camera angles.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if it's a horror film, when it comes to blood work, doing digital blood, it's always been very ineffective for what I've seen. I mean, there are some films that have been able to accomplish it, but especially in a low budget genre that we work in, doing a digital effect of blood work, it never really seems to work if you don't have the money to back it up.
Yeah.
Speaking of wounds, in your Summer Massacre, that
I was gonna say the lump.
was so
The lump.
gross.
Yeah.
Oh, that was terrible.
Squishy.
That was so bad. Oh.
Thank you very much for saying that. Most people don't know, but when we were making that film, I was going to school to learn computer effects because I was trying to like do something different, kind of open up my toolbox. Everybody was doing CGI at the time. This was, I think I went to school in 2010, and so I went to a school in Burbank, and of course I shot everything practical for that film.
Right.
And then somehow, somewhere along the way, I did like a little digital touch up here and a little digital touch up there. And then all of a sudden I started making people like fall off cliffs. And before I knew it, it not had to be done that way. And like people were like, that's way too much CGI. But to be honest with you, that year it came out, I had like, I think it won like 26 awards. And then we got the Guinness Book of World Record for that. And I think it was because we did everything digital, because it was kind of easier on the eye for everybody to watch.
And that was
like,
155 kills.
Does that make sense? Because like the layman, if they were going to watch it, they would be like, oh wait, that's just way too much gore. But
Right.
you had the CGI element. Oh, it's softer. It's more like a video game.
Right.
It's okay. I'm more accepting to finish watching this 90 minutes worth of people being killed, you know?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was 155, right, Joe?
Right, 155, right. But the
Make sure
lump
people
thing,
know.
the lump thing was really personal to me. And the whole character, everything about it. Most people don't. I'm not going to say any names, but I did have a relative growing up that had spinal bifida, and he was in a wheelchair, and you know he was just, you know, the family always surrounded him and he lived well beyond his age at the time. Now there are more treatments and stuff to keep people alive a lot longer, but that whole character was based on a family member of mine.
Oh,
And
wow.
the whole abscess thing, I've seen and experienced almost all that stuff in real life, you know. And so I tried to put everything I possibly could into one character that would make you sympathetic, and you know, the poor, you know, I would say the poor bastard, but you know, the character had a lot going on, and still became the hero. Really, if you think about
Yeah.
it, you know,
Yeah.
justifiable vengeance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole movie is kind of based on that, like. These characters, all the villains were actually, or all the serial killers were actually the heroes of the film. You know, they were justifiably angry, they were justifiably wronged, and they had every right to lash out in the sadistic way they did. I mean, it would only be natural as an animal to react that way. You know?
Mm-hmm. With the main character's eyeball, like how you had it moving kind of in there, like his eye moved. Was that CGI, or was that actually made that?
That was CGI. It was like I said, once I put like a little bit of CGI on one part of the film, like the very next shot was like, well, it doesn't work now. I have to, you know. And I was like,
Touch it up here, touch it up
the
there.
makeup was all practical, but then when you were watching the story, all the deaths were digital. I'm like, we got to kind of animate his face a little bit. Why don't we just make his eyeball wiggle around? You know, and just kind of make it. It doesn't take itself so seriously. I know, like if you read the reviews of the film, there's a lot of people hated it because it was all digital gore. but you know what? I mean, like I didn't make the film for them,
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
and then you know, it's not. I'm not trying to say it's this amazing film. It's just supposed to be fun. It's just fun. That's what we do here, you know. I mean,
was.
try to make the world a little more fun, one movie at a time.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
With a Joe twist on it.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, you know, I'd never do it alone. You get these people that come into me and come in on my set. Almost everybody on that film volunteered their time.
Wow.
And, with the exception of the crew, I paid the crew, but you know, people would come in for like 3 hours to get killed. Like literally, I would have like 6 people lined up to be killed in one day, right? And I'd give them a time to show up, and they'd
Wow.
they'd get strangled, and the next person, and it was just, you know, and but you know, the idea that a total stranger, I wouldn't even really cast them. I mean, was like asking for people to volunteer to come and die on camera. They would send me their headshot, and I said, yeah, we're gonna strangle you. Show up at our house at 2
Oh, wow.
p.m. in the afternoon, and I'll put you in the front of the camera by 4, and then that would be the window I would give them. And then they'd come out and they would do their job, and they do the best they can. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that believed in me and like gave me their time to do something so crazy without even a script, you know. Even though there was a script, but no one got the whole script. I wanted to keep it. The whole thing was kind of hush-hush because we were trying to Guinness Book of World Record, and I didn't want anybody to know about it while we were doing it until after we actually got the actual trophy. Yeah.
So you knew the number was.
Cool.
That's what the number was. You had to be around there.
No, Guinness actually told me what the number was.
Oh, wow.
He told me that you had to beat. I think it was over 50. It was a little over 50. It was 50, and it was for. I think one of the Friday the 13th has almost 50 kills in it.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't know which one, but one of them has a lot of kills in it, but there were specific details that you had to meet in order to make the number work.
Very.
And,
Okay.
we actually had to have people in the industry like verify the body count. They had to watch the film. They were actually like outside. We had to get somebody that was like also worked in the industry to go and watch the film to verify the body count, and it was a big achievement, and I'll be honest with you, my partner Steven Escobar, who I've been with for 21 years, he organized and arranged all the paperwork and all the details and all the technical details that needed to be involved in order for that to happen. It wasn't an easy task.
All right.
Wow.
Do you still hold that world record?
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I over here. Hold on, so let me see. Oh, hold on.
Yes. That's so awesome.
Oh my God, you guys, I have something special too.
Cool. Love it.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Dude, that is fucking awesome.
That is so cool, Joe.
Highest
Hell yeah.
That
highest
is so
body count
cool.
in a slasher film.
That is so cool.
That's cool.
Oh my God, that's fucking awesome.
A world record. I mean, how cool is that?
And nobody's beat it. That's even cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Now that we put it out there.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
since-
gonna
There's
try.
already a plan.
Okay.
Good luck.
I already have a plan to beat it. So.
Dude, I'm so glad that Joe pulled something out because it reminded me that I got something in the mail today that I needed to pull out. For my first time ever, I have my certificate from the Writers Guild of America
That is awesome. Good.
for
Congrats,
my
man.
script, Normal Terror. I haven't opened it yet. I was waiting. I wanted to do this live right
Congrats.
here, right now, on the fucking show
That's
because I
awesome.
actually forgot about it. And
Something I just produced.
No,
What?
I'm still in production.
Production. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen of Sacrificial Terror Podcast and Sacrificial Pond Productions, I give you my document of registration from the Writers Guild
That is so
of
cool.
fucking America.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Woo-woo!
Way to go, Sam.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's always, and, every time someone finishes a script, I'm sure it's an amazing feel. It's an amazing feeling, It's like
Yeah.
that in itself is an accomplishment,
Mhm.
For every critic out there that's ever criticized someone's film, I challenge them to write their own script, just for starters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just start with that.
Yep.
See how you can do,
See if you can do that, and then after that, produce it. Just see if you can do that, and then see if you can get it distributed.
Exactly.
How it
Yeah.
feels to get criticized by others. I can't tell you how many filmmakers here in LA that had never produced a film, never written a film. They come to LA, and they're a little critical of other people's films until they make their own, and then they become family. We
Right.
all
Yeah.
come down to our right side. We realize that movies are neither good or bad. They either entertain the person that's watching them or they don't.
Right.
I really don't think it's fair for someone to say a movie is good or bad, because there are people on this planet that love and worship a movie that I would
And you
never
might
want
not
to
know
watch.
why. There could be a
Yeah.
really sentimental reason why they like that movie.
So individual.
Yep.
Yeah.
We come with so many different ideas and tastes and opinions and whatever. It's really it's really what do you call it? It really hurts to say a movie's good or bad.
Right.
Mhm.
We best should say this movie did not entertain me because I don't like this. But of course, you'll never have a critic say that.
Right.
They'll just say matter of factually, oh, this movie sucks because blah blah blah. No, that's just your opinion.
And how boring would it be if we all agreed on everything,
Well, yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
boring.
There's even movies that me and Lance really like that Sam doesn't like, or vice
Yeah.
versa. It's
Yeah.
it's just all in your
it's
taste.
funny because Lance actually just got upset at me for a comment I made on a post
I didn't
because
get
we're trying to get him press credits to go to the local horror con in his area. And so I made a comment about Doug Bradley being Pinhead. And don't get me wrong, I adore Paul Taylor.
Yeah.
I love his work, but he, in my opinion, is not Pinhead. I'm sorry, he's not.
But I get to meet him.
I'm like, he looks the same. He's got pins in his face.
I thought he did look great.
I personally kind of like the new makeup on him. He's one of my friends on Facebook too, and also one of my good friends, Randy Wayne, is actually one of the leads in the film.
Oh,
And
cool.
Randy was actually in a movie I directed called Terror Tunes 2 back in the day, and it was his first film. It was the first film ever. So if you know Randy, I have some great pictures. I'll post them there. Yeah, like when he's like completely popped his cherry on camera in my film. And
Awesome.
Randy will get a big kick out of that. But yeah, he's
nice.
a very talented man, and I look forward to working with both of them hopefully in the future, near future. But I wanted to ask you, do you know? I want to go back to like the beginning. Do you know? We talked about Forrest J. Ackerman. Do you know who Forrest J. Ackerman is?
Right.
Rihanna, do you know who that is?
I don't know.
Check this out.
It sounds familiar.
Right.
I can't place it.
Forrest J. Ackerman is the first horror groupie ever.
Oh.
Like ever.
He's the first one of us ever. And
Really?
The reason why he's the first one of us ever is because when he was young, he was literally sneak into the Universal Studios backlot, and he went and met Bela Lugosi on the set of the original Dracula.
Oh, that gave me chills.
Yeah.
I know this to be true because, like, for decades, he wore the ring that Bela Lugosi wore on his hand in Dracula. You know the one where he goes, "Look into my eyes." He has that ring, and I have a picture of me like worshiping the ring on his hand.
Oh man!
I met him when I was 15 years old, and he used to make this magazine called Famous Monsters of Filmland, and that's how he became the first horror. Like he made the first horror magazine. He was like I said, the first like horror squid or horror groupie, and he has like this little vial of blood that Bela Lugosi used like on set for the blood in Dracula, and he kept it in this sacred little bottle.
That's
did he have a big family, Joe? Does that stuff like have a museum or something? Or?
Oh, you mean Forey?
Since he passed away?
Forrest Ackerman used to have this thing called the Acker Mansion, and you would go there, and in his mansion he had like a copy of R2-D2. He had all the heads from the Close Encounters aliens when they come out of the ship.
Wow.
Yeah. He had all those heads. He had so many crazy, amazing things. Like, I remember when I visited there, he had do you ever seen the movie Mausoleum starring Bobby Brzee?
Yes.
At the end, just this demon. She's got these two monster tits. How are they going like that? He had the suit. The John Carl Beaker had given him the suit. But either way, my point is that man created the venue for what we do today.
Oh.
That's
Nice.
He died in the 2000s, and he like I don't want to go into the darkness, but his whole entire collection was completely disbanded. It was supposed to be put in the museum.
No.
I don't want to say what happened to all, but it no longer exists. He even tore down his home. He had his own street in Hollywood. It was called Carlifornia, like Boris Karloff. He was able to own street, and it was called the Acker Mansion. But he gave me like my first taste of Hollywood. I was in a national special effects makeup contest, and I won the contest. Like Joe Dante and John Carl Beaker picked the winners, and so Forey flew me out here to LA, and I met. This was when I was 15 years old, and I met I met like Joe Dante.
Oh,
Joe Dante is the Howling and Gremlins and whatnot. And John Carl Beaker went over to his shop. Doug Beswick worked on The Evil Dead 2 and Octoman with Rick Baker.
Cool.
And either way, it was my first introduction to Hollywood. And I just want to share one real quick detail. So this is where I met my friend Brink Stevens when I was 15 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, Stevens. And Brink was going to be the mascot for the magazine that Forey was producing at the time. Called it went from Famous Monsters to Monsterland magazine. He kind of like rebooted it with a new name. And so she was going to be this character called Evila. And as part of my contest winning prize, I was going to have my picture taken with her, and it was going to be like, in the magazine, the winner of the contest. Oh. So I go to meet Brink at this house in West Hollywood. Are you familiar with West Hollywood? You know what West Hollywood's all about? Yeah. West Hollywood's Mecca of LA. So me and my mother, who's my guardian on the trip, I didn't want my mother to come at all. I was 15, and she's my guardian on the trip. We go to this house in the middle of West Hollywood. And there are all these people there. This is who was there. Ken Hall. You know who Ken Hall is? Ken Hall is he wrote Nightmare Sisters for Dave Dakota. He also wrote the first draft of Puppet Master. First Puppet Master movie. Ken Hall was there. Saban Gray was there, who was one of the people working on the magazine Monsterland. And Saban has this giant collection of Marilyn Monroe and all kinds of Hollywood memorabilia. Saban was there. Brink was there. Dave Dakota was there. You know who Dave Dakota is? David Coda. I can't even tell you how many movies. Creepazoids, Puppet Master 3.
Oh shit!
Okay.
On. Anyways, so there was kind of like they were all waiting for me to come over because they had seen a picture of me and they knew I was like this little gay boy, you know. And they're like, welcome.
How cute.
I wasn't out yet to my family. I wasn't really out yet, but they all knew. So me and my mom grew up at this house in West Hollywood to have my picture taken with the sexy Evola. And I said, man, I use the restroom. And they're like, yeah, okay. So they pointed over down the hall. I went to use this restroom and I opened up the door. And literally the entire inside of the restroom, even the ceiling, was with decoupage. Isn't that where you like laminate?
Yeah. Yeah, with that glue stuff.
Gay man porn magazines with raging hard-ons. The entire thing, you know.
Wow.
Oh my god, like that. Like I'm from Helena, Texas. This is my first experience in West Hollywood.
So there were dicks. You're saying there was dicks everywhere.
All over the bathroom.
Here we go. There's our theme again.
There was not one square inch of the wall that didn't have a raging hard on.
Wow.
I come back to the group to take my picture with you, and I'm like this, right? I was like, where's the restroom at? I need to use it.
Come on, Mom, you don't want to go to the bathroom.
Funny. Oh my god.
The cherry on top was when I left. Of course, I'd made friends with all these people, and that knew I was trying to like let me know it's okay. We love you. Come back. This is a safe place for you. And literally, this is the way I remember it. I don't know if this is exactly the way it went, but I kind of remember it. You know, like in cartoons when like they open up the door, Scooby-Doo, and all the heads are sticking out, looking out the door. Like, goodbye, Joe. We'll see you soon.
Oh my god, that's so fucking funny.
So you were 15, Joe?
I was 15 years old. Yeah.
So Brink had already done Slumber Party Massacre, right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yes, you did it in '81, I believe.
Early '80s. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Very cool.
So, yeah, no, that was my one of the most memorable moments from being 15. You know, and other shit like I got because of that trip, I got like I got my own centerfold in the middle of the yearbook that year.
Oh shit.
That's cool.
My head blew up, and it, you know, and I lived, breathed, and slept every moment of special effects, you know, and I like literally. If you could look at my desk right now, I have Endura alcohol-based paints right here on my desk. I have let's see. Oh, look, I have this. Let me see. Can I find the other one? I have this. I wanted to develop a technique where because sometimes actors don't know how to put contacts in the budget of the film. They can't even spend the $20. So I wanted to come up with something quick. So I thought maybe we could do something like I don't know, just something quick, you know.
That's awesome.
Anyways. And I have that also here. I got. Let's see what else I got here on my desk.
Looks like you got some masks behind you.
I got this here. I'll just pull out a couple of these. This is a.
That's what I'm dying to see.
This is from
That's cool.
Xenophobia, yeah. And
wait.
you can't really see it here, but it has kind of like it's intrinsically painted with I put glitter in it. It's basically a form of glitter.
Okay.
So it shimmers outside. So it all kind of has an iridescent shimmer to it. And
so it's kind of like Edward from Silence of the Lambs.
Got to hold up this. What is that? Say it again.
I said you said it shimmers and glitters, so I said it's kind of like Edward from
Twilight.
The Twilight series.
Yeah.
Did you say Silence of the Lambs?
I think he did.
I did.
We're like, what?
This is like
my head's not working yet.
This isn't. I didn't actually make a live cast, but this is supposed to be a head of Lance Erickson from the new movie Exorcism at 60,000 feet. That's coming out.
Fave. That's a fave of mine.
That's badass. Nice. He puts his little alien head over it. How cool!
And now he's an alien.
and he was in Aliens.
Right.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So, do you have a prop from every single movie you've done?
Not every single movie. You know, there was a time. You know, I've been with my partner for 21 years, and normally I keep everything I make unless they are purchasing the prop when we budget it.
Oh, okay.
My fee consists of me coming to set and performing a special effect for you or for whoever's there. It's not performing a special effect, and you get a new shiny toy.
Right.
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 So people sometimes people forget that, you know. So and then they make 3 sequels out of it, and it ends up over here and there, you know. Then they sell it, whatever. So normally I in most cases, because I keep it well, even better preserved than like a director or somebody where they have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
Like one time I made a very expensive prop for a movie, and then they did the sequel 2 years later, and they wanted, I had given it to them, and they had lost this very expensive prop, and they asked me if I could do it again, like cheap on the cheap end, because they were going to hire me to do some other stuff for it. I'm like, it's going to be cheap now. It's not going to be this amazing thing that they made before. So I normally keep everything. Yes, I normally keep everything, and it tends to like put like, I don't know, like I'll make something of a really, really high quality because I know it's going to be around, and people are going to be able to appreciate it at a convention or whatever. You know, some of this stuff is going to outlive me. You know.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, is that a silicone or is that a latex mask?
This is silicone. That was this is silicone mask. Yeah, that's I think that's a tin-based silicone mask. Yeah, which is not the same as the platinum-based masks that a lot of people are using nowadays. This is actually a little more sturdy. And I don't need the fiber knitting inside of it for it to hold up and not be punctured through. So it doesn't move as well, but it's still
Right.
The gelatinous kind
The
of
appearance, yeah. Well, because I like on my hands and stuff that we make for my film, we use the EcoFlex 30 because its feel and its texture is a lot more skin-like.
Do you put a fiber knitting over the entire arm?
Yes.
Do you custom sew the fiber?
No.
Do you buy something already pre-made that you slide over it, or do you just in certain places?
Well, no, I haven't gotten into the skins yet. We're actually doing that in this next part of the film because I have to create a entire bodysuit for the guy's skin that I'm going to rip off of him.
Okay.
So we're getting to that stage, but I haven't gotten there yet. So the stuff that I'm talking about is just the silicone props that are solid.
Okay, I see. Okay.
So, but we're using a 2-tone texture, so the inside has flesh tones, and then the outside are skin tones.
Okay.
A solid arm in here, but I don't have a solid arm in here.
He's just looking for arms.
Giant syringe that most people don't have.
Whoa.
This right here is plenty of blood for a
That's awesome.
a neck cut or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite toys. I have a couple of these lying around.
That's
That is
freaking
awesome.
huge. That's cool.
That's a lot of blood.
You fill that with blood.
Yeah. No, I
love that stuff.
I live and breathe this stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing this. I don't even know if they'd hire me at Starbucks.
Hey, Rhiannon.
Oh.
Rhiannon, this is just a glimpse of what's going to happen to our house one day.
Okay.
We're going to have this stuff everywhere, okay, honey?
Okay.
The movie that Joe wanted us to watch, the Nightmares on the Damaged Brain.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Good.
And I'm gonna tell you, it was different.
Did you watch it?
I watched it.
Good.
It was so different, and it was thrown off. It was strange.
That guy can scream.
But the effects were great.
Yeah.
The effects were amazing.
I saw that when I was 13. It completely warped my fragile. I saw movies when I was like 11 to 13 years old. I mean, there's a reason why young people shouldn't watch movies,
Right.
unrated like that. 11, and that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some crazy stuff back in the early 80s.
I saw your connection to both movies that you told us to watch too.
Okay.
Cleve Hall was in it.
Cleve Hall did the effects for Nightmare on the Damaged Brain. Yeah.
And Tom Savini may or may not have.
There's a picture of him on the set of that film.
Okay.
So maybe he was there just hanging out, or just I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know the full story.
I didn't catch him in the credits, but I did catch him on IMDb.
Yeah, he's credited. He was credited on the movie poster actually as a film, which I remember hearing things like he didn't want to be there. He did want to be there. I don't know what the controversy is about that. But I do want to just say I have to give a shout out to Tom Savini. That man has done so much for the genre. He has done what Tom did was he created everything that we now consider cliche because it's been done so many times over and over and over again.
Right.
He was the inventor and the creator of all these techniques that people use in films. And, you know, I don't think he gets enough credit. I really don't think he gets enough credit.
I love the Friday the 13th with the Kevin Bacon kill.
That's right.
And Ed getting chopped off. Just good stuff.
You know, and like his stuff is so inventive. It was so imaginative. You know, everything he did like that, like the way he went about doing that. You know, and I mean, he had nobody guiding him. He didn't have a book then. He didn't have YouTube tutorials. He didn't have picture examples. He didn't have anybody holding his hand. You know, and when I was 12 years old, you could used to be able to dial 0, and then what you would do. You'd say, "Hi, operator, can I get the area code for Pittsburgh?"
Yep.
And then he'd give you the area code for Pittsburgh. So I think you dial 0 and then the area code, and then you get the operator for Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And then it's, operator, can I get the phone number for Tom Savini? Savini. Okay, and then give me the number, right?
That's awesome.
Hey, is this Tom Savini?
Yeah.
I'll be like, yes. And I'll be like, hi, I'm Joe Castro, and I live in Helotes, Texas. And I just love the movies. And could you please tell me, how did you do the head coming off of the zombie? You know, this is before Grand Illusion. And he literally sat with me, and he would talk with me for hours.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome.
Really expensive for you to have a long distance phone call back.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He literally instructed me on how to load blood into, where to get a chemical fire extinguisher, how to put the blood into it, and how to put the air into it, and a safe way to hook it up to somebody. He
Wow.
taught me how to do that. You know.
So he was one of your
Nice.
basically Tom was one of your teachers.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That's crazy.
That is so cool. I remember the almanac. Remember the almanac? You could go through and find like the addresses of the actors and directors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always would write Wes Craven. Like I'd write these scripts. I never sent them, but I would like write these scripts, and I'm like, I'm going to send this to Wes Craven, and I'm going to star in his movie, and blah, blah, blah. And I had his address. I would just never send it.
Wow.
That's so funny because I actually met Wes Craven at a premiere for Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah. They used to do a United Artists Theater in Chatsworth. They used to do, or not Chatsworth, it was Granada Hills. It was 2 blocks up from Granada Hills High School on Zelza and Chatsworth. And they used to do, well, I know you guys don't know the area, so but I know Joe knows the area. Okay. So, but the United Artists Theater there, way back in the day, they used to do like these premieres. And then if you were outside, and that was like our little area, we hung out right there. They had a little coffee shop called Casa de Coffee. And after school, that's where me and all my friends would hang out. And so we would like go to all these premieres. They would like sign you up, and you would go inside and watch free movies all the fucking time. It was great.
Like as a test screening, right? You would get like the
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember seeing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 uncut, uncensored, without even music as a test screening.
Wow.
In Burbank, California. And it was unrated. They didn't have all the music in it, and all the gore was in it. In fact, some of the edits were like way longer than they should be. And there was so much gore that was taken out of the film.
That was Viggo Mortensen's. That was the Viggo Mortensen version.
I don't think it was.
Or Melihoff was the.
I think this was part 3. I think maybe you're right. I'm not sure who was in it. Who the star of it was.
I think I had saw his family and was on the blade.
I think isn't that the one with the lipstick? Isn't that one where?
Now that's one probably the Next Generation. We covered with Tyler.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So you saw that test screening for that one?
Yeah, I saw test screening for that.
Okay.
That's cool.
We just had Tyler Shea Cohn on. He was in that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyler Shea Cohn was Barry in The Next Generation, and he's one of my executive producers for my film.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
So, but what I was getting at was that when they did those test screenings like that, is that they literally the director and some of the actors would show up and do a Q&A panel right there.
Oh,
so it was like an impromptu Q&A screening with with this movie.
Right. And they'd be like, "What did you?" They would literally ask.
Yes.
what would you change? What, this and that. And a movie I saw, it's not horror, but I saw what was that movie that William Ferrell was in about going back to college?
Old School.
Old School.
Yeah.
Old School, unrated, uncensored.
I bet that was awesome.
That was so funny.
Oh man,
nice.
That's one of the perks of living in Hollywood or living in the area. Get to attend some of these things. Another thing I like about it, I'm sure they have it all over the place, even in Houston and where you are. They have these revival house movie theaters that show nothing but like 80s horror films or 70s. Horror film and stuff like that.
That would be awesome.
Every weekend you can see a movie that you were never able to see on a movie theater on a screen, 35mm film here in LA. And
cool.
I had got a chance to meet Jackie Kong. Jackie Kong directed a movie back in 1983 called The Being, and she was the youngest horror film director. Director in Hollywood. She was 21 years old at the time.
Wow.
A 21-year-old Asian woman who directed a horror film, and she's got a couple of really big cult hits. Blood Diner was one of them, and Night Patrol was another one of her films. But The Being is the one that really I like.
Broke her out.
Yeah, there was that was her first film, but it was the one that I worshipped. Like for about a year and a half. I think it was like from my 8th grade year to my 9th grade year, something like that. From my 8th grade year, and I finally got a chance to meet her at one of these revivals. See,
cool.
I played her film, and she went, and I was able to actually meet her in person finally.
You posted about that, didn't you?
Right, yeah.
I remember that now. Okay.
And I've been trying to reach her for like over a decade, and
wow.
Dang.
I'm putting it out there. I look forward to making a movie with her one day soon. But yeah, people like Jackie Kong who paved the road for us. We talked about Forey. I want to talk a little bit about Herschell Gordon Lewis. And most people know who Herschell Gordon Lewis is, but they don't really know who Herschell Gordon Lewis is. And Herschell Gordon Lewis, and people will argue they're the blue in the face, but the facts are facts. You got the date, the copyright date. In 1963, Herschell Gordon Lewis was the first man to exploit blood in a motion picture cinema in a color motion picture. He's the first man to ever do it. It was considered pornographic to show blood red in a movie before 1960.
Really?
He's the first guy to do it. And when he did it, his movie was considered pornographic. So the regular movie theaters wouldn't show his movie.
Oh my gosh.
He made this film. So he literally took his prints and got in a car and drove from city to city to an adult porno house, and he would rent the theater out on Sundays, and he'd put ads in the paper, and people would come and see his movies on Sundays in the afternoon.
Were they X-rated? Would it be X-rated?
It was X-rated. It was unrated. Which was
unrated. Okay.
Which was considered.
And he's made movies like, you're going to know these. His original movie was Blood Feast. That was the very first one.
Awesome.
It's literally considered the very first slasher movie ever. And the reason why it's the very first slasher movie ever is because the storyline is a deranged killer stalks innocent victims one by one, killing each one in a horrific death. And then at the end of the film, the killer dies at the hands of the hero or heroine in an even more gruesome, horrific death. Which is the slasher storyline. And he invented that.
Wow.
And people will say, oh, no, it's just another time I didn't know. No. It's 1963. He's the very first one to do it. And he did Gruesome Twosome, 2000 Maniacs, The Wizard of Gore, the Gore Girls. Which one? Blood Feast 2, which I had a chance to work with him on. And he was, when I met Herschell instead of Blood Feast 2, it's where my whole career kind of like really opened up and blossomed, because he taught me how to, he taught me what it meant to be gory. Mm-hmm. It's not about pouring blood, He taught me what it was to make something sick and entertaining at the same time. Mm-hmm. He taught me how to like make blood fun in front of the camera. And he's just an all-around amazing man. He taught me how to be a better man. He taught me how to be a better businessman. He taught me how to appreciate what I was doing in the moment. And he's no longer with us. He died a little over 2 years ago. And we all miss him, but he was the first, and I got to give him kudos for that.
That's some great teachers.
So you've worked with legends.
Yeah, and the icing on the cake is, before he died, he told me his blood formula for the very first Splash movie. So I have the blood formula that you.
That is so cool.
Wow.
And sometimes I'll bring the blood on set when I'm working. In a little, I'll bring it like in a little special, like holy water or a little Elmer's Blue Jar.
Yeah.
The special recipe.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome.
And what else? Who else I mentioned? Oh, Brink. Brink Stevens. She's been in over 200 films. She lives like literally like 6 blocks from me now. It's so weird. I met Brink in and she lives 6 blocks from me. She's one of my best friends. I consider her one of my best friends in the whole wide world. I use her in every movie that we make. And in fact, we're shooting something here tomorrow. But James Balsama,
Yes.
What's blood? We're shooting some pickup shots. He said the movie's not bloody enough. Because Joe, not bloody enough. What can we do?
Is that what the creature you made? That's in that.
Yeah. I'm like, come on over. Let's make it bloodier. So we're gonna shoot in the backyard tomorrow. And
nice.
A series of gore shots, and I have like just body parts and torsos and this and that and the other. So we just kind of make it up as we go,
Mm-hmm.
James is awesome.
Nice.
He's high energy too.
Who James? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
James.
man, he is high energy.
Yeah, he's this is what David Friedman used to say. David Friedman was the producer of Blood Feast with Herschell. They would say he's with it and for it. He's good for it. He's with it, man. He'll do it, whatever it takes. James is like, yeah, more of that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. He likes to delegate authority to the right people on set, and he lets them do their thing and lets them do their craft. And that's why I think we get along so well. And I was able to create that creature. In fact, it's this creature right here.
Yeah.
That I was able to make for him.
Cool.
And I apologize. I don't remember the artist's name that actually designed the creature, but it's not my own custom design. I was given a drawing, and then I was able to create it from there.
It's huge.
Okay.
It's freaking huge.
Yeah, it's nice. So
Wow,
I'm
how
looking forward to seeing
cool.
that.
So how you were saying that like the blood was pornographic and stuff. So like in Evil Dead 2, where they had to change some of the blood to be black because they couldn't show that much blood on screen.
Right.
So it's almost
Right,
kind of
right.
like kind of along that line.
That movie, if I remember correctly, was actually released unrated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Never got an R rating, and I saw it in the movie theater unrated. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it was 85 maybe when the movie came out.
Sounds about right.
1985. For like an unrated or rated R movie, your parental guardian would have to come to the theater, and there would be like a little piece of paper, like they would have like a little piece of paper, and your parents would sign their name on this little piece of paper next to the movie time and sign you into the theater.
Wow.
And so my mother would always sign me and my friends in. I remember for my best friend Stephen Schaaf's 12th birthday, we were 12 years old. My birthday present to him was I took him to see Creep Show. So here we got 2 12-year-olds sitting in the front row.
That's awesome.
Like, ah!
That's awesome.
I like Creep Show. And then Tom Savini did the creature on Creep Show, right?
Yeah.
The one looking through the window that's tapping.
Right. Yeah, he did that. He made the fluffy creature inside Crate. He did all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Fluffy.
He did the 2 waterlogged people that come back from the ocean.
Ted Danson. That was Ted Danson's first movie, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And then and also the roaches when they come up out of the guy and they come heave up out of his chest and crawl over.
Yeah.
Got my Creep Show picture up.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Right there. That's
Go figure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's so cool.
Nice.
After 37 years, I think it's just like what I keep the onion keeps peeling back. Like I keep meeting, like, oh my gosh, it's such a small world. Oh my gosh, here we are working together. Oh my gosh, here we go.
What's your most memorable moment on set?
Let me see. Okay, I have a couple, but here's one. This is one. There's a movie coming out called Exorcism at 60,000 Feet, and on that movie set, I got to work with Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
From Creep Show.
I did a special effect where it's a taxidermy dog, like a little taxidermy dog, but it's not real. I made it. It's a puppet. It kind of looks like a cross between a taxidermy dog and a ghoulie, like an actual.
Nice.
Funny looking. And it comes back to life. It's like the undead. It comes back to life and it rips Adrienne Barbeau's scalp off.
Oh.
Nice.
And Adrian didn't want anything glued on her skin. She didn't want anything, had to make like a little hat that I could just put on her on the shot. Just like a little hat. Like,
oh wow.
Here you go, Adrian. Like that. The whole movie takes place on an airplane. So the producers rented this airplane set. It's this bloody movie, but we couldn't get blood anywhere.
Oh wow.
Oh, like, be careful. And I think the art director came in and literally reupholstered the entire interior of the plane just in case something got blood on it.
Oh man.
But so I had a whole bunch of things fighting against me. But that was one. First of all, I was going to be starstruck working with Adrienne Barbeau.
Right.
And I had to put the hat on her, right? and then I had to operate the puppet, and I had to pour blood on her at the same time, and I had to rip off the scalp. that right there is going to be that's going to be a very memorable moment,
That's awesome.
Also working with Herschell, of course, on Blood Feast too.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute the moment I met him, they flew me in and we were shooting it in New Orleans, and I came to set and I had like giant boxes. And back in 2001, right? Was that before 9/11? When was 9/11? 2012?
2001.
2001. Okay, so 9/11 hadn't happened yet. And in fact, it was probably like a month and a half before 9/11 happened.
Oh wow!
And I was able to like literally take giant cardboard boxes on the plane, and So I had all my stuff packed in, and everything came to set. They were literally gonna like drove me from the airport and took me to set, to like start working. And I came with her. They're like, Joe, I think Herschell wants to shoot this scene where Stroh gets stabbed and a knife comes out. Can he talk with you? I'm like, sure. So he comes over to talk to me the first time I met him, and he says, yeah, I see. I said he describes the effect to me because I just want to see the knife protruding out of her bare chest. And I said, well, do you want it to be this long, or do you want it to be this long? And he said, what are we prepared for? He said, what are we prepared for, Joe? I said, whatever you can think of, whatever you dream. And from that moment, we were best friends.
Wow.
Aww.
We were going to have happen. And I'll never forget that moment. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is fucking awesome.
What did you think of Marcel Walsh's remake of Blood Feast?
I thought it was very dark and morbid. I think there's some very dark and morbid parts of it. But I really like Marcel Walsh's Blind.
I'm dying to see that.
I want to see that.
Very entertaining. I know it's not going to be for everybody. Once again, it's not going to be for everybody. But for me, everything that I loved about it is probably not what people are going to be looking for.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a filmmaker.
Right.
I love. There were so many things that he did that I loved. He wrote. They wrote this script. It was very simple, but some of the most amazing ideas have come from something very simple.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciated that. There's only really 6 characters in the entire film.
Wow.
So it's like working around these 6 different characters. Like I'm thinking wow, what a cool independent idea, So I really appreciated that. Of course, all the stuff with the killer, all the like creepy thriller shots he did were perfect. They were totally, in my opinion, he straight up nailed it. And I have a lot of my friends are in the film, so I'm a little biased. But
we got Joe Netter and Sarah French.
Right, and Jed Rowan, who plays the killer.
Right, yeah.
That's one of my best buds. So
okay, cool.
But ultimately, I think the film is really good, and it's very entertaining, and it's exactly what you think it is. Okay. Freaking love story, and you're gonna get blood, and you're gonna get some thrills, and you get some titties, and you're gonna
titties.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked enough about dicks lately. Let's see some titties.
Boobs.
Like all the movies that we've been watching lately, there's so much dick. So we laugh at every time it's full of dick. Like you don't normally see that.
I'm steered away from that,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to have I don't have sex in my movies, but I always put nudity. I always try to put nudity. Now in Xenophobia, it's PG-13. This is my first PG-13 film.
Oh wow.
Science fiction film is PG-13. But movies like Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist was very scary, and it was PG, and Raiders of the Lost Ark PG, and it had a lot of thrills in it. Actually, part 2, Temple of Doom, and there was a little bit of blood. So it's it's a complete throwback to the 80s. It has classic rubber aliens in it. There's some ships, but it's not like this Marvel comment big budget. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be made for people that want to see practical effects, kind of a throwback to like the cantina scene in Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Is kind of thing. You go back and watch that, and yeah, it's classic. It's what do you call it? It's nostalgic.
Oh, gotcha.
So we forgive all of its flaws, right? When we see like, oh, I know how they do that now. We forgive all of its flaws. That's the kind of movie it is. You know,
Awesome.
I'm not trying to like reinvent the wheel here. I'm not trying to win an Academy Award. I'm trying to have fun, entertain the audience. You know, so
I'm sure.
Well, and that's a cool thing about cult films is that, you know, when you do those throwbacks to the nostalgia, you know, in the 70s and 80s and what made horror what it is today, you know, and even science fiction, you know, it matters. There's a group of people that fucking love it. And I'm one of them. You know, a lot of the stuff that we're doing in my film, you're talking about nudity. You know, I had a really difficult time getting some of my actors and actresses to understand that I'm not doing the nudity in my film for sexual reasons, but I can't perform an autopsy on somebody who has their top on.
right.
I can't. I would love to, but I can't do an autopsy, and it's imperative to the story that it's a female.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, so it's like, you know, there's a toss-up in trying to do some of this throwback shit that nobody gets. You know, it's like, oh, well, you just want to play with my titties on set. No, I don't.
one of the best of 80s films. You always got, you know, titty shot. You got a shot. There was something taboo about it. Someone died. You know what I mean? It's like this kind of like this nice formula that always made it work. You know, and we don't have any nudity in Xenophobia because it's PG-13. In fact, there are no fucks in the film. There's no gratuitous. This is why you get an X rating or an unrated, a non-R rating, is gratuitous suffering by an individual.
Oh, okay.
So whenever someone is gratuitously suffering because of death or like because someone's trying to kill them, that will get you an X rating or you won't get a rated R.
Wow.
And normally independent films get slapped with that. Like if you try to get your film rated today to go on like Amazon Prime or something like that, it won't get rated. They'll give it an X, or it's actually an N, or non-rated.
Yeah,
Unrated.
They won't give it an. They will not. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I kind of, you know, I did all that to death. I mean, maybe one day we'll go back and do that. Actually, we're getting ready to release Terror Toons 4, and we have this franchise called Terror Toons. And each one of the films has gotten crazier and crazier as we're going along. But Terror Toons 4 is getting ready to get released, and there is some nudity in the film, but it's not done. It's almost like it's silly. It's like silly nudity. It's nothing even really. It's I'm sure the kids see worse online. You know,
right? Yeah.
It's probably worse on Family Guy. You know,
right?
An American Dad.
Yeah, exactly. American Dad, Family Guy. There's more lewd comments and lewd drawings on that than there is in Terror Toons 4.
I love those shows.
Yeah, me too.
Those are like my favorites.
It's like completely addicted to watching that stuff.
Yeah, I've watched it before bed.
Yeah, I love Adult Swim. In fact, that's kind of how a lot of people don't know that Terror Toons 3 exists, or they don't know where to get it. I think you can get it on Amazon Prime now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I think if you have Google Play, I think you can get it on Google Play as well, and Vudu.
I don't have that. I have Vudu.
I don't know about Xbox, but yeah. And Terror Toons 3 is for the people that like. If you like Terror Toons 1, Terror Toons 3, the fans that have seen it, they have literally written me and said, Joe, this is your masterpiece. And I was out of my freaking mind when I made it. And but everything about it is, you know, I paid extreme attention to detail. And if you watch it, it's like watching a 73-minute special effects shot.
Okay.
It's like
nice
how detailed it was. We spent 6 years putting the movie together, and so in some cases we would. I mean, there's everything in it. There's stop motion in it. There's digital effects. There's practical gore, practical special effects, digital gore. We did miniatures and green screen. Everything we did, every type of special effect you could possibly imagine is in that film. In fact, sometimes since it was just my partner and I putting it together, we would like literally it would take us like a week to set up the shot. Because it was like a miniature or something like that, and we would set it up in the backyard, and we'd get one take to shoot this shot. There's a scene in the film where the three little pigs are described as these three evil cops in the film, and Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf are best friends in the film, and they have a gang. They're called the Red Hooded Locos, which are like guys. Everybody's dressed up in these red hoodies, and they're like do-gooders. So what they do is they'll like wait for like someone to like go on a trip, and they'll like go over to their house and they'll break in and they'll like clean the whole place up, paint the house. They're like these do-gooders, right? So the do-gooders like are being harassed by these three pigs. I play one of the cops. They kill the they kill the cops, the evil cops, but then they have to dispose of the bodies for the evidence. So they make a giant pot of cannibal soup, and they're gonna eat it, eat the evidence. And so what happens in the film? There's a warning label on the pot they cook the soup in, and it said, "This is a magic pot. User beware." And it brings the soup to life. So the soup is a giant monster in the film, and it's a giant monster made of body parts and heads and arms and intestines, and it like races through the film like the Blob, trying to kill. It took us a year and a half to make that sequence. So
nice.
Anybody that sees it that says the soup monster, soup. I'm like, yeah, no, you've never seen anything like it before in your life. If you get a chance, wow, Origins 3. And a lot of people like to smoke pot when they watch it. I don't, but it will totally blow your mind, And
nice.
If you love practical special effects, you will love this monster in Origins 3. We shot all these miniatures where we would take like gallons of like red food coloring and red syrup and stuff, and like literally we would get like the trash can you put your garbage in and fill that up in order to dump the water on the sets as the soup was rushing through the woods and stuff like that, knocking stuff over.
Wow.
So I did my best to like really appease the fan base of the first film. And like I said, I don't know it exists because it was never released on Blu-ray or DVD. It was only released on iTunes and Amazon Prime and Google Play and Vudu and a couple of other platforms. But I think it's going to be available soon to Blu-ray and DVD. So
cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Where are the other ones at? Where can we get the other two?
You can get all my films on Vimeo. You can get all my films on Vimeo. You can rent them there. But I know, like for instance, let me just check here. I think Xenophobia is going to be released on all major platforms. You should be able to get it everywhere. Let me see if I can. I don't even know. It's so hard to keep up with some of the information that's coming out about it.
That's soon too, right, Joe?
It's coming out on August the 6th.
Okay.
Nationwide or worldwide, and it'll be on all the different platforms. Let's see if I can find the. I know that someone posted it. But it's going to be on a lot of streaming platforms. And it's a very entertaining film. I want everybody to see it. I want everybody to know not to take it too seriously, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And, So let me see if I can. But anyways.
We'll watch it for sure.
Absolutely.
We'll have to have you back on, too.
I'd appreciate this.
I guess we'll need to get him back on, Barbie. He worked on Night of the Demons 3.
Oh, you did.
They work on Night of Demons 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to be covering that pretty soon.
I worked in the special effects shop. There were about 4 or 5 other people that worked on it with me, but I was honored to be able to do some of the key elements of the film that made it into the picture, and it's fun.
Cool.
Because some of the stuff I was given to do, I think, like my bosses were like, give it to Joe. It's not that big of a deal. And then it ended up being like the thing that everybody remembers, right? Like the mask from Uncle Sam, like literally that mask that he wears.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been trying to find the copies of it. There's one copy left in existence, and it's in a museum in Hollywood. That Uncle Sam mask, that Halloween mask that he wears, my boss literally gave it to me to like put together and paint and finish because he thought, well, Joe's not that good. He'll make it look like a Halloween costume.
Wow.
And it turns out that's the thing that everybody remembers. Yeah. It's just like little simple stuff. But I also did like I'm kind of bad, but I've never seen the film. But supposedly, I made these 2 full-scale burn bodies for the film. They're supposed to be like in, I think, a helicopter accident at the beginning, like they're in the war, like the Vietnam War.
You're right.
Burn bodies in there. I made those bodies. You know, they're like, oh, we only have $100. Give it to Joe. He can make 2 full bodies for $100. You know? It was like back in what, I don't know, 1993 or 95.
That's about right.
Yeah.
So,
Early to mid 90s.
I
Yeah.
was like 25. You know, what did I know then? I was
Right.
with these guys. You know, with Larry Cohen who wrote it, and the man, I forget the man who directed it. Famous guy too. Anyways, but yeah. My basic duties on that were like I said, making the mask, making the burn bodies, and then there's a young actor in the film who had a burn appliance on his face, and he knew a lot about all the characters from Star Wars. In Return of the Jedi, all the different names of the characters. There was this book that Lucas put out and had all the characters in it, all their pre-production designs. And and the kid was a little uncomfortable, and he had to be not baby, this is the wrong word, but he had to be looked after on set all the time. He had this rubber thing on his face he was very uncomfortable with. I think he may have even had a contact in his eye. I'm not sure. But I was in charge of keeping making him comfortable, having a conversation with him all the time. So he was okay wearing this thing on his face. And I took the thing off with his face too. And I had, but anyhow, that was that. And then Night of the Demons, I was supposed to go to set on that movie, and I didn't make it to set, but I worked in the shop. I made all of Angela's skin that melts off her body.
Oh, cool.
And I used a technique using a hot pour vinyl, these different layers. Hot pour vinyl can only be applied to itself when it's hot. And so no other chemical sticks to it.
Right.
You can add some color to the top of it with magic markers, but like just some, if you want to draw like lions or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted the skin to melt off, but they couldn't actually melt the skin. So it had to kind of look like it was being pulled off or melted off. And then when it opened up, it had to be red on the inside. And you can't really, blood doesn't really stick to it. It just like beads up and runs off like rain on a window.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to figure out a way to tint the hot pour vinyl and heat it up at the same time and apply it to the first layer of hot pour vinyl. There was skin on the outside. So it was flesh on one side, blood red on the inside. And then I super glued razor blades all over the underskull that was holding the skin up. So we would just pull the skin and the razor blades would slide through it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love
that. Is cool.
Movie. Absolutely love that movie.
It's a fun movie. It's a fun film. There's a lot of really fun effects in it. Once again, a movie that doesn't take itself so seriously.
Right.
Yeah. I love the snake on the arm. My boss made that, sculpted that, and I think I painted the Halloween mask. Once again, I'll give it to Joe. He'll do the Halloween mask. And, I did I guess there's a scene where Angela's tongue.
Yeah.
Somebody and it goes out the back of his head.
Uh-huh.
Right? Big long tongue that comes out the back of his head. And wait, what is it? Oh. Amityville Dollhouse. You ever see that one?
Dollhouse. Isn't that a newer one?
No. It was then as well, like 94, 95. And
I know I've seen them all. I just can't remember them all.
The one where there's like a corpse dad in the wall, comes out of the wall, I think, or he's the dead dad. I think that's what they called him.
Sounds cool.
There's just some fun stuff in that too. But those are my 90s direct-to-home video sequel stuff that I had the privilege of working on. Yeah.
That wasn't Amityville 1992 or 1993, was it?
No. I think that was like Amityville Dollhouse. I think was number 4. I think it was maybe number 5. And it's about literally about a haunted dollhouse. It looks like the Amityville house.
Oh, okay. I'll have to watch it because I love.
Yeah, definitely.
Amityvilles. Love Amityvilles.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, I got to get this. I want to show this real quick. I got to get Joe to sign that.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Remember Dustin signed that for me.
I was very honored.
Nice. Yeah.
And there's Julie.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's Peter next to Joe with his eye hanging out.
Which what movie is that?
That is a new special sequence that Dustin Ferguson produced and directed for the re-release of a redo of Sleepaway Camp 2. And we actually went and shot it in the same mausoleum where they shot Fantastic 3.
That's awesome.
That Dustin had us all drive out there in the middle of. I remember it took me like 2.5 hours to get there from my house. It's way down in Compton, I believe. And we showed up. We had like 20 minutes before they were closing the cemetery. Peter came to my house first, and I glued the eye on him. Didn't put the blood on him. And then I put him in the car. We drove both there together, with his eyeball hanging out the whole time.
That's awesome.
The life of
You have like something from everything, Lance. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I need more.
Which is funny that Lance brings up that picture, because Julie is actually my new actress. She's going to be my autopsy victim.
Oh, excellent.
I didn't realize that was the same person.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Very talented young lady.
That's awesome.
I've been following her for about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years now.
There's I have like this body of films that's getting ready to come out that I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I can say something about. Julie is in a new movie that I just worked on with Thomas Churchill. It's called Big Freaking Rat.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Exactly what you think it is. I'm not going to
it's the Big Freaking Rat.
That's awesome.
Of course, Xenophobia is coming out. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if you know this. I'm doing like a reinvention of the 3 villains from The Barn 2.
Right.
We're shooting that in September, and Don Shell is having me go out there and is kind of like a co-executive producer with Justin Seaman for the sequel, and we're going to do a whole slew of crazy deaths.
So the 3 main characters, you're working on those guys.
Yeah. In fact,
That is trippy. See I have the barn up right there.
No,
So those are the characters he's going to be working on.
And I totally reached out to Justin after I saw it, because I think that film, not only the characters, but it has one of the most original deaths I've ever seen in a very, very long time.
Oh,
and
wow.
this is just my own professional opinion, but there's a scene in Justin's movie where a guy gets his head carved into a jack-o'-lantern.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the new Halloween movie, there's a scene where somebody gets
Right.
came out 2 years before they made that film.
Exactly.
That death is so original.
Yep.
The only place they could have seen it.
And that's from the original barn. That's from this movie right here.
That's from the barn. I found the picture online from Halloween, the remake of Halloween, the new Halloween, and I sent it to Justin. I said, Justin, you have something to do with this, because the death you had in your movie was so original. It's only one place they could have gotten it.
It's also in Terrifier as well.
Yep.
Oh, did they do that in Terrifier as well?
In Terrifier, and so everybody thought that it was coming from the Halloween one was coming from Terrifier. So apparently they're both coming from.
Yep.
The barn.
The barn.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
I've never ever seen anything like that before, and literally that one special effect prompted me to reach out to the director of the barn and say, "Congratulations, what you do is amazing."
Oh, okay.
Wow. I think that whole film is very entertaining.
Did you know the story behind it almost didn't get made?
The
barn got really sick or something, and they stopped production on it.
Oh.
And everybody came back because they saw his vision and they wanted to get it done.
Right.
I think they came back and I don't know if they didn't get paid or the exact story for that part of it, but they all came back and got it done.
Oh.
Nice.
That's totally nice. Yeah. No. I have made films that have taken years to produce and finish and get out in the market, but I always complete them because, yes, some people come to us and they work on our films for free or whatever, and our obligation to them to fulfill the destiny of what their intentions were and have the movie put out there,
Right.
And and sometimes I work with people that I don't necessarily like, but that never ever inhibits the quality of my work in a film.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't. I always want it to be the best of the best of the best. There are no more small projects anymore either. I like literally when a director comes to me and he's got 2 pennies, I'm like, how can I make this look amazing for you? If I can't do it, I will say something. But normally it always comes with an explanation as to why. And normally it's because, hey, it has to be a certain quality at this point in my life. I can't put my name on something that doesn't reflect, the quality of work that I've done and what people expect,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You take pride.
And you are busy too. I see it all that you're like nods. And he always seems so happy. Like in all of his posts, he'll try to get everybody involved and do like a huge selfie. And he always looks so sincere. And He's happy. You can just see it. It comes through in the post. So I'm always hitting love. I'm always loving it because he's just so happy.
It's hard for me to just like a post anymore. I mean, I love everybody's post.
Right, right.
Like if you're trying to make the world a better place, one post at a time, I'm there like cheering you on, like love.
Right,
right.
I do this thing. It's like. Don't work like that.
Because now you feel like if you hit like, they're like, oh, well, she doesn't really like it that much. So you got to hit the heart.
No, my only what do you call it? Suggestion to Facebook would be is that maybe they had some different colored hearts there.
Yes,
right.
It's like love, like the red heart. Is like more of like an intimate thing that I would like maybe like an orange one or like a cool like psychedelic one or or wowsy, you know what I mean? Something that would reflect like our emotion at the time.
That would be cool.
Brotherly love. I like to use the blue heart whenever it's like brotherly love with my creative brother or my creative sisters, that kind of thing, or an orange heart when it's a general like love of what's going on as I put the comment. But the red heart, I think they need to give us some options. Maybe like press it down. You know how sometimes like an iPhone you can press it down on the option with different colors. We could do that with the Facebook.
Yeah, we should write Facebook and tell them.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. I mean, the black heart is always appropriate for certain things.
Yeah, I love.
You heard it. You heard it here, Facebook.
That's right. Come on, Zuckerberg. Come on.
Yeah, we need to contact them.
I'm gonna keep my opinions about the Zuck to myself. Thank you.
So, what I really think they're trying to do is they're trying to teach us all how to speak in hieroglyphics again.
Right.
Right.
Because like the Egyptians were taught by the aliens, right?
Right.
And that's how they were able
to
using the people do this, you do this, and they were showing everybody using hieroglyphics. Everybody understands a picture, and I think that's what this technology, this alien technology here. I mean, when I grew up, you have to like literally wait by a phone for a phone call.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, if you weren't home, no one answered. It's like, how many times does it ring now? I don't know, 40. Should I go?
Right. There's nobody there. There's nobody home.
So yeah, no, I think they're just teach us all. I mean, the universal language right now in the world is emojis, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Absolutely.
can, when we get a friend request from somebody in France or whatever, we can always give them the hey, smiley thumbs up. They know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it makes it easy. You don't have to go into a whole long thing. You can just like answer with the emoji.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Love that.
All right, Joe, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Now we're at the point of the show where what we do is we give you an opportunity to give your shout outs to anybody you could possibly want to thank. And that way let them know, that you were thinking about them. And, it doesn't matter whether you're sponsors or your company or, shows or movies or people or whatever you want. This is your time.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you guys. You made this an amazing, memorable evening. This is like one of those bucket list things.
Oh.
Like
hey, thank you, Joe.
Thank you, brother.
If any of you ever come to LA, you need to tell me in advance so we can schedule some time and grab coffee and talk shop.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Joe, I'm in LA, brother.
Yeah.
I'm in LA, brother.
Yeah, you should come over and die in on camera. I mean, like if
hell yeah.
That'd be a bucket list thing for me. I'd love to see you two get together. That'd be awesome.
I have to give a shout out to my partner, Steven Escobar. I've been with him for 21 years. We put all my shit all for 21 years. We made 11 movies together.
Wow.
And we were getting ready. And Xenophobia could not have happened without Steve.
Emmy Award winner too, right?
What was that?
Emmy Award winner too?
He has an Emmy. He has an Emmy for outstanding editing for the Amazing
How
Race.
about that?
Nice.
Right now he's working on Big Brother right now.
What?
Wow.
I'm a Big Brother. So I'm like a closet Big Brother. Anyways, so
awesome.
so yeah, none of this would be possible. Steve creates a friendly, safe, creative environment for us both, and for everybody that comes over to our home. Our home is basically a small movie studio, And in fact, like I said, we're shooting here tomorrow. And if you're in the LA area, please say hello so that we can show you around and maybe we can shoot something at the house.
Awesome.
That would be so
and then
cool.
of course, I have to give a shout out to Thomas J. Churchill. Thomas Churchill is a producer director that I work with. We literally became friends about almost 3 years ago. I just met him, and we're instant friends because we were chasing the same dream, making high quality entertainment, and we like to make movies with our friends. And like all best friends, we have those moments where, it's like love, hate, we pick on each other, we push each other. But Thomas Churchill made me bring my A game for the very first time ever in a long, long time.
Nice.
It had been many years.
We're friends on Facebook. He's awesome.
Me too.
It had been many years since someone said, "Hey, Joe, you are better than this. You need to do. I mean, you can do so much more than what you're doing now. Let's see what you got."
Right.
And he made me bring my A game, and it had been a long time since someone had done that for me. So I have to like the films look. Even Xenophobia is the biggest film in my career, and the look of the film. Mitch Parks is our director of photography. Directors of photography don't ever get hardly any credit at all. I mean, the movie wouldn't look like money if it wouldn't be for him. And this man is so talented. And then I just want to thank people like Brink and then all the people that came before us. Herschell and Forey and. I just numerous people here. There's so many to go by. They all know who I am. I love everybody on Facebook. I'm very approachable. If anybody wants to work with me, all you have to do is give me a shout out. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. We can make it happen. There's always a way. There's always a way, and we'll make it work.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show, Joe. You were absolutely an amazing guest, and we love you. We adore you. Thank you so much. And all right, Lance, your turn, brother.
Just the regulars, the big guys that really get with the show: Lance Dale, David Martin.
L2.
L2. Thad Timothy. Damon Williams, Scout Williamson, James Blankenship, Joe Ridgely, Slinky, and Pop Tart. Chris Attella with the music again. We love our music in and out. Matthew Price Thompson with MPT Graphics. And the Cult Classic Convention's coming back soon, so be on the lookout for that. Bastrop, Texas. And it starts on Valentine's Day in February. I want to be there as the press guy. And okay. Oh, anyway, yes. And then I don't know. Anyway, so Lisa and Roy at the gas station. That's where you got to go. And Oakley dokley, I'm out.
Yeah, you gotta do the Batman.
Oh, not yet.
Okay, you can't do it yet.
Yeah, not yet.
My bad. So, all right, sweetheart, what you got?
I'm going to agree with everybody that Lance said because, there are regulars and everybody that helps us. And, it's easier when you just list them all off because I always have a hard time remembering who all to say. Yeah, you do awesome. So everybody there. Aaron Lee with Crazy Ink Publishing and the whole Crazy Ink family. I have my books coming out, Broken Halo, October 7th. I have 3 of them actually in the series, so they'll be all kind of sporadically getting released. We have a new group called Possessed by Passion. It's a really cool project coming up with Crazy Ink, where there's about 20 authors or so, and we're all releasing together. So we can't say a whole lot, but you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I think Twitter. And
stay updated, people. It matters.
That's right.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff. And then, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on. We've been super excited to get you on here.
So excited.
This was great. And you had so much knowledge, and this was so cool. Thank you guys for doing the show with me and just being absolutely amazing.
Best.
And that's it for me.
All right, guys, and now it is my turn. One, I want to thank my casting crew from Normal Terror. We have a lot of things coming up. As you guys know, I'm running a promotion right now. Our video hit 10,000 hits. The live video feed that I did. What we're doing is our promotion is we are offering people an opportunity to get their name in the movie. Can you guys hear me?
It's breaking up.
It's breaking up though.
Okay.
You sound like a robot.
I'm like a robot in that Lance's job. So But I want to thank my casting crew. Like we talked about, Julianne Prescott is now one of our leading actresses. So thank all of my casting crew, my executive producers, Eve Gray, Tyler Shea Cohn, my teammates here at Sacrificial Terror Podcast, Lance Wagner, Rhiannon Nicole, Miss Zombie Barbie herself, Miss Samantha Wagner. She does an amazing job behind the scenes. We couldn't do it without the two of them pulling together. And, between her, between Zombie and Sam doing what they do, we definitely appreciate it so much. So all of our fans, all of our followers, you guys stay tuned. We got a lot of big things coming up. Mr. Joe Castro, it was an absolute honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. This is definitely one of my top 5 moments in podcast history. So
Awesome.
Thank you so much, my friend. You're an amazing man. And and like I said before, you're somebody I admire, somebody I look up to. And I also want to give a special shout out to Matthew Price Hobson, our graphic artist who puts all of our artwork together. He does an amazing job, and he's great at what he does. So if you guys need any kind of graphic art whatsoever, go see my brother at MPT Graphics. So, all right, guys, that's the end of our show tonight. We will see you next week.
Yes.
Lance.
Gotta do it.
Well, you didn't do the commercial. I was waiting for the commercial.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm so humbled, and this is a gift you gave me. I appreciate all of you, and please, we'll be in touch, Sam.
Absolutely.
And, absolutely. If y'all are coming to town, please let me know in advance so we can make the appropriate arrangements.
Hell yeah. That'll be awesome.
In the movies.
You got it, brother.
All right. Bye.